guys, this is the Fat Panda, and I have the power rankings for the Week 6 in the WPF Gyarados League. Been a couple weeks since I've done one of these, so there's going to be quite a few changes, including a new number 1 team overall. I can kind of go over any changes for the various teams that have made trades in the past couple weeks, and comment on who they've beat or lost to in the meantime. Give my thoughts on where I think they're headed for the season, and so on and so forth as we get to the halfway point for most teams for the season. Our new number 1, the Madison Machamps, have ripped off 4 straight victories now after their Week 2 loss. Certainly have had quite a big team reshuffle with 4 new members since then, including this past, well, not exactly this past week, but recently trading their Barraskewda away for Virizion, finally getting another grass type on the team, and fully dismantling what is essentially the remains of the Rain Core that they had. Now Barraskewda and Kingler are gone, and Pelipper's the only original Rain member left, although Dracovish, the new addition, certainly would enjoy it. Last week, managed to beat the ASU Marills with a standout performance from Chansey, netting 5 KOs in a slow and gruesome death, as Chansey is wont to do. Week before that, beat the GWS Galladiators in a similarly kind of grindy match, I believe. To be honest, I don't really remember anymore. Seems like something that would have happened, though. Our new number 2 shooting up in the rankings are the Alanta Beedrilles, riding high on the back of Venusaur G-Max, which is just wrecking bodies left and right every week, seemingly unstoppable, and showing that G-Max Venusaur is a heck of a lot stronger than I gave it credit for at the beginning of the season, although I do say having an actual Sunsetter in Ninetales is good. Not having one before was very weird. Fixing that, though, has made Venusaur G-Max truly terrifying every single week. Number 3, we have the Vegas Golden Magnemites, who have risen a couple spots up to 4-2 on the season, a respectable record from our 2-time champion in the WPF. Darmanitan, the latest wrecking ball, taking out the Hekseville Honchkrow, nabbing 3 KOs, I believe. Rising star on the team, not quite competing with total KOs with Gardevoir yet, but it'll probably get there, I imagine. It seems like it would end with more KOs than a Gardevoir would. Grimmsnarl kind of showing his second season in a row where it starts out, does some interesting things, then doesn't do a lot, and maybe it'll start doing some more fun stuff at the end of the season. I'm always surprised to see Grimmsnarl not on the MVP tracker at all, because that thing is a monster. At number 4, we have the Melbourne Lucarios, who have also risen a couple spots up from, I think, the 6th rank they were the last time I did one of these. El Creamy G-Max has been stealing the show recently, which is always surprising. Last season, I was convinced it was cursed. I don't think it won a single match. It's been in a couple good matches so far this season for Melbourne, and seems to be holding its weight quite well, which is very interesting to see. The rest of the team also performing quite well. Even seeing some Zoroark shenanigans, I believe, recently, which is always nice. It's one of the tricky mons that's kind of harder to use effectively, to be honest. But it's cool to see it starting to do some work. At number 5, we have the only undefeated team. But Panda, why would you put the undefeated team at number 5? Because as good as the Half Moon Hydreigon have been playing, I still fucking hate the team. He's going to have to beat me in week 8 for me to respect this team. Otherwise, he's just going to keep trickling up. God help him if he loses, because I'm going to drop him back down to the cellar. I don't care. Number 16 if he gets one loss. Fuck this team. At number 6, we have the Minnesota Lycanrocs, who have had a rough few weeks. Week 5, they did beat the West Texas Weavile, which is a very strong win, but did lose last week to Sacramento and their G-Max Rillaboom stealing the show at the end of the match. 3-3 record in the conference, and especially the division they're in, is certainly nothing to sneeze at, though. I don't even think they might even still be technically number 1. I'd have to look at the tiebreakers because I don't think anyone in that division has more than 3 wins anyway. So I think it's like 3-3, 3-3, 3-3, and like 1-5, which is absolutely brutal. So number 6, but might still technically be in the playoffs right now, and a 50-50 record is always a decent shot to get into the playoffs anyway. So team is still performing quite well, especially for the brutal schedule that they are working with. Number 7, we have the Warsaw Rapidash, who started strong but did lose last week to the Melbourne Lucarios. I believe, yeah, lost to the Melbourne Lucarios. But team itself is still performing very well with one of the more terrifying Firewater Grass cores you can see with Vaporeon, Incineroar, Vileplume. I think there's only one scarier triple core like that, and that's on a team that's a little bit below here. But regardless, did make one trade recently, dropping Miltank for Exploud, which I think was certainly a decent play, at least if you want to keep most things the same. But this team is very kind of fat, and while Miltank is fast, it's not offensive. So adding one more just absolute switch-in monster is certainly a good thing to have. Looking at the team, I might have said maybe look for something more physical, but it's good. It's going to kill shit. I mean, that's literally what Explode is for, so that's what the team needed. So that's a good trade. But I think these teams even exactly where they were last video. Number 7, it's kind of hard to move them up when everybody above them is also winning for the most part. So what can you do? At number 8, and falling on hard times, so the West Texas Weavile. Lost, I believe, weeks 4 and 5, and then they have extended their week 6 match into week 7, so they're only got 5 matches to go with. It's been a rough go ever since their 3-0 start, but the team is strong enough to certainly bounce back as long as the coach is able to do so as well. They could easily be rising back up into the top few in the power rankings quite soon. At number 9, we have the Sacramento Kingler, who have also fallen on hard times recently. It seems that no number 1 in these rankings is safe, which frankly terrifies me. But the team itself is still strong, still has the best Firewater Grass score I could think of, with Rillaboom, Rotom Heat, and Primarina. One quick shift in the trades, they did drop their Hitmontop for Palossand. That's a fine trade. Palossand has some fun new tricks like Scorching Sands and all the old tricks like Stealth Rock, I guess, Shore Up. I don't know. Maybe just wanted to wall something bulky and wall-y that could actually, heal itself, which Hitmontop, I mean, it could technically do a Drain Punch, but let's not, kid ourselves and pretend like, bulk up, whatever. Hitmontop with Drain Punch is going to be something you're going to see during the season anyway, for the most part. So I think getting something like Palossand could certainly benefit the team. I believe, this is, no, it's the second electric immunity. Togedemaru can also be immune to electric, but always good to have as many of those as possible. In a division with electric types that like to Volt Switch, having immunities to that is pretty damn good. At number 10, we have the Rochester Raboot, who have gone 1-1 the past couple weeks, which seems to be the trend they like to do. Stuck at 3-3 for the season. Beat the Vegas Golden Magnemites, which was a very good win. Lost to the Alanta Beedrilles. You can't really blame them. That's 2 incredibly tough matchups, so getting one of those is certainly nothing to cry about. Team itself has been struggling overall, but there are some very, very, very strong things in there. I mean, Urshifu, Heterini, G-Max are crazy offensive. Raichulola, Pinkerchin have amazing synergy. There's just a lot of really fun things going on with this team anyway. So they're still gonna, they can go 1-1 for the rest of the season. Maybe steal an extra match somewhere there, and bam, they're in the playoffs. That's really all you need to do. Number 11, we have the Boston Red Sox, who are one of the only teams on this power ranking, I believe, that won both their matches. I think it was just them, Madison, and I think the Bolton Boulders, who won the last 2 weeks of matches. This team is an absolute train wreck, but it's clawed its way back up to 3-3 after starting 0-2, so, or even 0-3. I can't remember. I think it was 0-2 or 1-2. Doesn't really matter. Very bad start. More acceptable middle place thing. The team is a disaster, but as long as the team can keep winning, I mean, that's cool. And I guess when playoffs come, if they manage to squeak in, their opponent will thank them for making it, because, oof. Number 12, we have the Bolton Boulders, up to 2-3 on the season, winning 2 games after losing their first 3, which is a very, very good couple weeks for them, rising up a couple spots in the rankings, I believe. Team itself, still very weird. Dual weathers, things that really don't like being in the other weather. I don't know. But hey, it's worked the last 2 weeks, so if it keeps working, I guess who's really going to complain other than Bolton's opponents, right? So, Charizard G-Max is just doing Charizard G-Max things, and the rest of the team is kind of helping it do that. And that's really all you can ask, I guess. The way these teams are all structured, it's basically, for the most part, the team supporting their G-Max. So as long as that keeps happening, as long as Torkoal can keep the sun up and Excadrill can keep the rocks away, or Togetic can keep the rocks away so that Charizard can run its Life Orb or run its Choice Specs or whatever, that's perfect. That's all it needs to do. The race is definitely not over for Bolton yet. The entire conference is struggling to really break out. So 2-3, especially with an extension there, is certainly not over yet. Number 13, we have the first team where it's probably all over yet, in the ASU Marills. Rough couple weeks. They lost both of their matches to Boston and Madison. Couple rough matches. Team is just not quite clicking there yet. Some less than ideal plays, making switches at bad times and losing Mons for no real reason, but this is definitely not a team that anyone should discount when they see it on their schedule. It is still absolutely devastating. Lapras G-Max setting up the screens for Melmetal, Volcarona, Blissey getting free teleport switches to, once again, Melmetal, Volcarona. There's definitely still a lot to fear from the ASU Marills. Number 14, also unfortunately lost both their matches the last couple weeks. South Beach Shaymin, not doing terribly hot after that one victory against the Gladiators, where Flapple just absolutely went in. Hasn't unfortunately been able to pull off the same kind of stunt with it. So unfortunately, the team itself has been suffering as a result. Team itself, though, has still got some absolute monsters on it. Flapple, Cinderace, Gengar, Porygon Z. I mean, how do you even begin to wall all those things? You just don't. And then you try to revenge and hope that when you try to revenge, he doesn't go to, Amoonguss or Bronzong or a Gastrodon. Lots of very, very solid pieces. So while playoffs are probably impossible at this point for South Beach, they can absolutely provide spoilers for the members of their conference in the matches that they have left. Number 15, we have the Hekseville Ho-Oh. falling to 0-6. Have yet to pick up a victory this season. Things just aren't clicking in prep, or aren't clicking in play. Coach is just uncomfortable with the team, and it kind of shows. They just nothing is really working, unfortunately. There's still easily some ways for the Hexavale to steal some games, though. I mean, Cinderace can G-Max, grab up a fighting, grab up an attack boost, grab up a speed boost, and pull off a sweep. Dragapult can just DD and win some matches, I'm sure. Sylveon, Slowbro, Xatu, pretty good defensive grouping. There are still ways to certainly pull off some victories if they can sneak a few wins here and there. While they probably aren't going to make the playoffs, in fact, almost certainly not. They'd have to win all their matches just to have even a shot. Once again, spoiler season is in full effect for Hexaville at this point. And speaking of spoiler season, we have the GWS Gladiators, who are also 0-6. Much easier for this team to spoiler season someone, though, behind the likes of Urshifu, Rapid Strike, and Inteleon G-Max. If that thing gets a focus energy, G-Max's lives end. Scissor could easily pull up some sort of really weird set. Scissor can just win games on its own if someone doesn't prepare well. So this team is also quite well equipped to just steal a match or two, I'm sure, before the season ends. And with that, will most likely ruin someone's playoff chances, which is basically what this coach should be aiming for at this point. Right, here we have the recap for you guys. You can see there's quite a few changes with some larger numbers here. That just simply happens after not doing one of these for a couple weeks. A couple teams go on streaks or one way or the other, and well, I just, move them accordingly. Looking at the MVPs of the season, it's nice to see that there aren't 3 G-Maxes on top. Always important to see, at least one representation from at least one of the little guys. Hopefully can stay ahead of whatever probably terrifying G-Max is number 4 right now. We will see. And we will see in 2 weeks after week 8 and the trade deadline has passed. I will be back with another update and we'll see where everything has gone then. Until then, I'll see you guys later.